Okay, so let's take a seat on the floor. So any position that feels comfortable. I would suggest sitting on a couple of cushions if you're sitting cross-legged, and just make sure that you're lifted to your spine. Okay, so if you don't like to sit like here, you can always have the legs forward, or you can always come up to kneeling if that's your preference. Okay, so just sliding the shoulders down and back, and just being aware of lifting nice and tall through your spine, sinking into both sit bones if you're seated, and then chin parallel with the floor. And then just going to come into your breath, so taking a breath in through your nose, and then breathing out either through your nose or your mouth, this is whatever your preference is. So keep lifting nice and tall, just becoming aware of your body, how it feels through both sides of your sit bones, how your shoulders feel, and encouraging length all the way to the crown of the head. So you want to imagine a piece of string lifting you up nice and tall. Okay, for those who don't know me, my name is Debbie. I've just taken over for the next few weeks from the lovely Sophie. And if you've got any feedback or any questions, please do let me know. Okay, I thought we'd start the session with a little bit of box breathing. Now it's up to you whether you breathe out through the nose or mouth, entirely up to you. So, and don't worry, it's about just progressing bit by bit, not finding perfection. So we want to breathe in. So imagine we're coming up the side of the box. If you can, just pause your breath at the top as you come across the top of the box. And then we breathe out through the nose or mouth as we lower. We pause at the bottom, and then we come along the side of the box. So we breathe in, holding your breath just for a moment, but the shoulders stay relaxed as we come across the top. Breathe out for the same count if you can, pausing your breath as you come along the bottom. So it may be a breath for 2, 3, or 4, or 5. Everyone's different. Just have that same number as you pause, that same number as you breathe out, and we just pause at the bottom. So we keep that breath flowing. It's up to you how fast or slow you go. Just be mindful to relax the shoulders and keep that lovely posture. If you're feeling uncomfortable, just please do make sure you move around if you need to though. Okay, we'll do one more of the box breathing, taking a breath in, pausing, breathing out, and then slowly pausing. Right back to normal breath. So we're just going to draw the shoulders up by our ears, and then slowly slide them down. So just bringing awareness into your back. So we want to make sure we're not lifting them up too high or drawing them down too far. We're just finding awareness between the shoulders and our ears. If you want, you can add your breath, breathing in as the shoulders draw up, breathing out to slide down. Now, I will talk through breathing throughout the whole of this Pilates session, but it's okay if you breathe the other way around. As long as you're still breathing, that is the most important thing. You've got one more. And then slide the shoulders down. So lifting nice and tall, keeping that lovely length all the way up through the spine. You can just tuck the chin in gently and just take the eye gaze over to one side. Bring yourself back to center and then to the other. So just make sure the chin is tucked in ever so gently. So the eye gaze is down to the floor rather than to the side. And only go as far as you feel comfortable. So it's never about forcing it. Coming back to center, last one. Okay. This time we're going to have the hand on the floor, your right arm, so I'm opposite you. You can either do a shoulder roll, or if you want to, you can take the arm very slowly above the head into a small circle. So we're breathing out and breathing in to come back round. So if you want to, you can make it a little bit bigger. So we have a little bit of side bend as we come over. Just being mindful that we're staying roughly between two panes of glass. So we're not bringing ourselves too far over. We want to keep the control. One more this side. And then let the arm float down. And then change sides. So either shoulder roll depending on how you feel, or take a nice small arm circle. So we're breathing out and then breathing in as we come back. You've got one more. And then let the arms come down by your side. Okay, you're going to bring the elbows underneath your shoulders. So you want to make sure the elbow is directly below. You want to imagine you're holding a pencil underneath both armpits. So just slide the shoulders back and down, thinking about your posture again. And we're just going to keep the elbows connected to the body as the palms just come out. It's called dumb waiter in Pilates. So we breathe out and we breathe in. So you want to think about connecting into the muscles of your rotator cuff. So shoulder stability. You may feel a little bit in your biceps, that's okay. Just relax the fingers and make sure we're not forcing it too far. So if you feel that the arm is coming slightly away, just make it smaller. So we want to be aware that the elbow is directly under the shoulder. We want to be aware that we've still got our pencil that we're holding on to, and that the elbow is staying close to the body. Right, this time if you want to add on, we take the arms out, find that position of comfort, and then reach away, elbows stay soft, elbows come back into the body, and then we draw them back. So we're done waiter, and then I think we're feeding the birds as we take the arms away, elbows stay soft, nice and slowly being aware of where the elbows come back into. So really being mindful of feeling the work through the shoulder blades. Elbows in. We'll do one more. And then bring them back and release down. Okay, let's take a lie down on your back. So take your time to bring yourself down onto your backs. Now, if you feel that the eye gaze looks more above you than in front of you, then just make sure you pop a cushion underneath your head. So taking your time to come down to the floor as long as you need to. Feet hip distance apart. And just check that you've got length through the neck, tucking your chin in ever so slightly, arms resting down by your side, with the palms facing up to ceiling. We're going to focus on a little bit of pelvic floor today. So pelvic floor, you may feel a little bit going on. So if you want to, you can always take your hands to your lower abdominals. But it's quite a small movement as internal movement. So you want to imagine you're drawing your coccyx bone towards your pubic bone and then releasing. So we're drawing the coccyx bone towards the pubic bone and then relaxing it down. Now, as you do this, you may feel something going on with your pelvic floor. Don't worry if you can't. You want to make sure that you're not squeezing your bottom or over-activating through the abdominals or letting the outer thighs and the thighs get involved. So it is a movement that just focuses deep into our pelvic floor. Now, if you want to, you can add your breath. Breathe out as we draw the coccyx bone to pubic bone. Breathe in to release. So just drawing in and then controlling it and letting go. Now, as we do this, are we relaxing our shoulders still? Are we encouraging the length into our neck? We'll just do 2 more of those. We'll add on to this next week. Right, and then, so we're relaxing into our pelvic floor again. So I want you to find balance into the sacrum. So this lower part of your spine, above your tailbone, is called the sacrum. So we want to find balance from side to side and be aware that both sides are working evenly.
So all I want you to think about doing, I want you to imagine you're lifting one foot off the floor, but you're not actually doing it. And then let the foot come down. Okay, and then we change that. So you want to think about lifting the other foot off the floor, but the foot doesn't actually lift, and then release. Now, as you're thinking about lifting off the floor, I want you to make sure you're not putting any extra weight into the other leg. And then we breathe out as we pretend to lift. Breathe in to let it go. So you're being aware that you're balancing into the sacrum each side, and you may start feeling a connection with the center, even though you're not actually lifting the leg off the floor. Sometimes it's actually doing less, makes it more aware of what's going on, and you can really feel the difference. So I want you to keep pretending. So breathing out to lift, or pretend to lift, breathing in to release. Now, if you want, you can stay with the pretend. Otherwise, if you want to next time, you can float the knee up in line with it, and then bring it down. Again, just be aware of what's happening from side to side. You want to make sure the leg that's staying on the floor, you're not putting any extra weight into. You want to feel like you're balanced into your lower back, into the sacrum as you lift and lower. If you need to, and you want to find somewhere between the two movements, just maybe a small hover is enough for today, and bring it down. So wherever you are, either pretending, hovering, or bringing the knee up in line with it, see if you can breathe out to lift, and breathe in to lower. Relaxing through your neck and shoulders. So what happens when our abdominals find fatigue? We start using the neck and shoulders to take over from us. Right, you've got one more each side, whether it's pretending or lifting. Last one. Nice and slowly, nice and smooth. And then hold it there. Okay, let's come into the arms. So I want you to take the elbows just slightly underneath the line of the shoulders, fingertips up to ceiling. Now it's really important we don't force the movement. We don't feel the shoulder blades lifting off the floor, and the rib cage doesn't want to pop up, nor does the lower back. So we want to be aware that we're staying balanced. We've got a little bit of connection between our ribs and hips, and we want to be aware of where the shoulders are. So what we're going to do is slowly take the backs of the hands towards the floor. Don't come all the way down if the shoulders are wanting to pop up. Bring the fingertips all the way to ceiling, and then come the other way. Now, obviously, again, we don't want the shoulders to lift so high, so you may not be able to come all the way to the floor, and that's fine. So again, slowly be aware of what's happening both sides. Breathing out as the palms face up to the ceiling. Breathing in to come back. Breathing out as the palms come down to the floor. Now, what's going on through the shoulders? Are we keeping control? Are we keeping a little connection between our ribs and hips? Fingertips back up, and then lower down. You've got one more time each way, nice and slowly, try not to rush it. And then bringing yourself back up to center. And let the arms recover. Okay, we're going to come sideline, so we're going to do a little bit of work into our glute knee, so it stabilizes our pelvis. So if you want to, pop a cushion underneath your head and have your arms in front, or you can rest your head on your arm or have a cushion if you want one. Okay, so just make sure you're comfortable in that position. Knees in line with hips, if you can, ankles in line with knees. If you need to, drop them down a little bit. So you want to imagine here that the waist is drawing off the floor, so you feel that little bit of activation into your abdominals. We want to make sure the hips stay stacked one on top of the other and don't want to roll back as we add the movement. So hand on the floor for balance, and we take relaxation through the shoulder. So we are going to lift the top knee, the bottom foot just hangs behind, and bring it down. Now, if that feels really uncomfortable, just keep the foot there and just lift the top knee only. Now, you want to make sure we're not lifting too high because we want to keep the hips stacked one on top of the other. So if you feel like the hip is wanting to roll back, just make it even smaller. Smaller is always better in Pilates. So we breathe out as we lift and breathe in to lower. So we want to sometimes feel the work in our glute medius about here. Now don't worry if you don't feel that straight away, it's not a problem. And if you are feeling it straight away, excellent. If you need to take recovery, please take it. Now if you are lifting the foot and the leg at the same time, then just make sure the knee leads away. Because if the foot leads away, then we don't always get the activation into the glute med that we want. You've got 2 more this side, breathing out to lift. Breathing in to lower. Last one. Keep lifting the waist off the floor and then recover. Okay, just bring that leg forward just to give it a little bit of a stretch, just to ease it out as long as that feels okay for you. And then ever so slowly roll onto your back again. So again, if you need to, pop the cushion underneath your head. We'll give it a little bit of recovery before we do the other one, otherwise it's too much if we go straight away. So again, tuck the chin in, relax through your neck and shoulders, feet hip distance apart. Right, we're going to come into the arms. So we're going to start taking the arms up towards the ceiling then in time over our head. So again, find your little rib to hip connection. Make sure the rib cages don't want to pop up. So we don't want to lift and arch to the back because it's so tight that they're lifting. So palms face the floor, draw the shoulders back and down. So we're going to slowly just take the arms just above the shoulders. And then as you come down, think about drawing the shoulder blades down to the floor. So we're breathing in to rise. Exhale as we slide the shoulder blades down. So maybe you're feeling awareness as you lift the arm into your abdominals. Maybe feel the shoulder blade is drawing down and maybe feel a little bit of awareness into the abdominals as we draw down. Now you can stay with that if you want to, otherwise you can lift. Now rotate the palms so they face inwards. And then take the arms ever so slightly overhead, shoulders stay down, bring them up, rotate, palms face the floor, and then slowly lower. We rise again, so breathe in to lift, rotate. Now you may want to take the arms a little bit further. Remember, elbows don't lock out. We want to make sure the rib cage stays down. We draw the arms up, rotate, and then slowly draw the shoulders down towards your hip bones. So we're rising, floating the palms in, making sure the shoulders are not wanting to come up to our ears. Making sure we're not wanting to lift through the rib cage or into our lower back. 2 more. Excellent. Okay, when you finish, you're going to go and roll onto your other side. I'll turn around to face you. But roll onto your other side, we're going to work in towards the other glute med. So take your time to change sides. There's no rush to get there. If you need the cushions, then obviously have the arm in front and bring the cushion underneath your head. Or you can have the arm above your head, either resting down or the cushion underneath your head. So whichever works for you the best, just make sure your neck is comfortable. Again, just drawing the knees slowly up in line with hips, ankles in line with knees. So you have that arm in front to give you a little bit of balance, shoulders down and back. And just drawing your waistline off the floor so we find that stability into your center. Okay, so remember you've got two choices here. You can either let the knee lead the way with the foot hanging behind. If you feel like you can't control that, or it feels that you're not working where you want to work, or it's coming somewhere else, just let the foot stay down and come into a plan. So again, we're breathing out to lift. The hips are staying stacked one on top of the other. Breathing in to lower. So just making sure the hips not wanting to roll back. If it is, just keep it even smaller. And remember, you can take recovery whenever you need to. So the glute med, focusing on strength there to help stabilize into your pelvis. Taking time as you lift and lower. Slower is always better. Breathing out to lift. Breathing in to lower. You've got two more if you want them. Again, keeping the control, relaxing through the neck and shoulders. And then at the bottom, if it feels good, you can draw the legs slightly in front, just to release it out. Okay. So ever so slowly, roll back onto your back with the cushion underneath your head if you need it. Again, thinking about lovely neck alignment. So we're going to reach the arms long by our sides, palms on the floor. Just settle into both shoulder blades. Feet hip distance apart. Heels closest to bottom, but not too close. So we're going to come into a bridge. So just make sure you're on a stable surface. If you're on your bed, just come back into that movement we were doing a moment ago. Just pretending we're lifting one leg off the floor, bring it down, and then the other side. Okay, so we're tucking the chin in if you want to. Just let the lower back sink down towards the mat. Just a small lift pressing into both feet. And then slowly lower. So keep it small to begin with. We're going to bring awareness into our spine. So just peeling one vertebrae than the other. If we can, hips stay level. And then slowly lower down. It's never about how far you can rise. It's about seeing if you can press into both feet evenly. Just bringing awareness into our hips, into our lovely backs. And if you want to, you can add a breath. So we can breathe out as we peel up. And breathe in to lower. So it's all about seeing if you can make an imprint of your vertebrae on your mat. And you've got one more, if you want it. And then slowly come down, take your time. Okay, we're just going to finish the last few minutes in relaxation. So choose a position that feels good for you. You may want to have your knees bent, have the knees resting against each other, just to give your lower back support. You may want to lie back on your sides, or you may want to have your legs long. So you may want to close your eyes and just bring awareness back into your breath. And as you breathe, bring awareness into your body. So maybe notice your shoulder blades sinking down into your mat. Noticing your spine, one vertebrae and the next. From your neck
all the way down to your tailbone. Noticing your pelvis, allowing balance through both sides equally. And as you breathe, just take time to relax any tension from your elbows, through your wrists, your fingers. Relax through your kneecaps, down to your ankles and to your toes. Becoming aware of your face. Just relaxing your mouth slightly to release any tension through your jawline. Softening across your forehead, around your eyes. Just letting your breath flow in and out. Every time you breathe out, just see where else you can let go. So if you're happy there and want to stay there, please go ahead. If you want to, you can bring some movement back. So maybe wiggling your fingers, your toes, just to bring awareness back into them. You may want to ever so gently point and flex your feet. And just do whatever feels good for you. Maybe drawing the knees into chest, one and the other. Or maybe ever so slowly, rolling onto your side. And just taking as long as you need to bring yourself up to seated, unless you want to stay there. Wherever you are, just take one last breath. In through your nose and out through your nose or mouth. Thank you all very much. Any questions or if you would like anything added in, please do let me know. And I hope I will see you next week.